Double Game Week 36 is confirmed. The transfers you make this week could change your season. Cherki versus Semenyo. Who is the best Man City midfielder? Is it time to buy Crystal Palace assets this game week? And also, with Harry Wilson blanking, is he now a sell? All of that and more in today's video, so let's get into this. Welcome back to the FPL Mowgs YouTube channel, and welcome to today's Who to Buy video for FPL Gameweek 35. If you enjoy this type of content, drop a like, and also if you're not subscribed, click that subscribe button. It does really support my channel in a big way. The first player of today's video is of course the most transferred in player for Gameweek 35, Rayan Cherki. There is a combination of reasons this guy is so hyped for Game Week 35. Firstly, we do have to cover City and Palace doubling now. It's officially confirmed in Game Week 36. That's going to be a big reason people want Manchester City assets and maybe some Palace players too. The reason also Rayan Cherki is obviously the most bought this week, in my eyes, is Semenyo's, downtick in performance as of late, blanking all the way from the 30th game week. Compare that to Rayan Cherki. He's had many more FPL points, back-to-back 10-pointers in 32 and 33. That draws people's emotions into it. And to be honest, Cherki's just been performing better than Antoine Semenyo. I don't think it's a bad move, and I know many people have already made this move, going to Semenyo to Rayan Cherki. The problem with this move in some ways though is we just don't have many transfers coming into the end of the season now. If you don't have a massive amount saved up, maybe you just keep a hold of Semenyo. If you're buying a Man City mid and you've got that extra space, Cherki's the man. But if you've already got Triple City and you have Semenyo, I can see many situations, including in my own team, where I just stick with Semenyo. I don't think he's ultimately a bad option in FPL. I just think Cherki's that little bit better now. Something that we need to be cautious of with Manchester City, as always, is Pep Roulette, and I think it just gets worse and intensified with the schedule they have remaining in the season. There are so many games they have to play coming into this last little bit of the season. An FA Cup final, but there is going to be rotation here. We just can't avoid it. I think with the amount of rest they have between games, we're most likely going to see rotation, possibly for the final, Palace and Bournemouth. I think around this time is going to be the most high chance of rotation. We've really got to see how they line up for that Chelsea game. It's going to be super interesting to see, because that's going to dictate a lot of what we do for Bournemouth and, of course, Aston Villa for the last games of the season. But it's just something to be careful of. We're never going to avoid it. It's not something that, we can tell, when Pep's going to bench players, when he's going to give people reduced minutes. It's never something we've been able to sort of calculate. It's so random. But for me, Cherki is just a really great option in FPL. If you're looking for a Man City mid, or you're just sick of Semenyo, Cherki genuinely is not a bad option at all. I would personally buy him. Of course, speaking about that double in 36, it also includes Crystal Palace, and a lot of managers are humming and hawing whether it's even worth bringing some of these guys in. Is the triple up genuinely worth it, or do we just want one or two Palace players for the double game week? I'm on the latter end of things. I think maybe having two Palace players is maybe the max I'll go. We'll have to see how things play out, of course. But the reason I've chose Lacroix for this particular video is I just think he's the most reliable and safe Palace pick you can go for. Of course, in a different situation, if you're chasing your mini league leaders, if you're looking for a differential, Ismail Assar, Jean-Philippe Mateta, Strand Larsen, Richards, these type of players, even Dean Henderson, to be honest, is quite reliable. Munoz as well. Some of these players, though, they will get rotated and have less minutes in the Premier League. I can just see it. But Lacroix, I feel as though, is the safest one we can go for. It's also the fact that his defcons are just really great. They are just fantastic. And if we can look at these last few fixtures and say he's going to get 2 points minimum for playing, 2 extra points, of course, for the defcons in some of these games, that puts him above a lot of Palace assets in my eyes. So I think he's the top buy if you're looking to buy a Palace player for the double game week. When should you be buying them though? Is it this game week? I don't think so. I think you can genuinely wait for the 36 deadline. I don't think there's any rush for a Bournemouth away fixture. I see Bournemouth winning the game in all honesty, and of course Palace conceding. I just don't see a situation where it's worth it this game week. Again, I hate to say it, but with Palace having a game in hand, European commitments, rotation is going to be real. What game is it going to happen in? We just don't know. That's why today we've went Lacroix, the most reliable, safe City Crystal Palace pick in my eyes. Let me know what you think in the comments though. What are you doing for double game week 36? Are you going to go triple Palace, or are you just going to have one or two reliable assets? Of course, when we spoke about Rayan Cherki, we also spoke about Semenyo. Is it the case that he's just now a terrible asset and you have to get rid of him? No, I genuinely don't see this. Of course, blanking in the last four is frustrating. It always will be. But as an FPL manager, I don't think you should really be, doing transfers with emotion. I think look at the data, look at what fixtures we've got. He's playing a lot of minutes under Pep. He's been so important since arriving at Man City, and he has done well at Man City. I just don't think he's massively a sell this week. I really don't. I understand, almost 100,000 managers have transferred him out this week, and that will rise as we keep going, as many managers go Semenyo to Cherki. But he has the same fixtures, same team, same fixtures. Everton away, a double game week in 36, Bournemouth away, Aston Villa at home. They need points, they need their strongest team. I see him playing a lot of minutes, but we just don't know how many minutes that's going to be. Is Cherki going to get more? Is Semenyo going to get more? Who knows what these minutes are going to be like for the players with the amount of games they're having to play. Of course, we did hear that Semenyo missed out on certain fixtures with just being tired, so maybe that is a worry for some managers, but is he ultimately a sell now he's blanked a few times? I really don't think so, guys. Back into the buys here, and we're going with a big differential in all honesty, and someone we haven't seen for a number of weeks as an FPL asset. It does largely depend though on tonight's Champions League fixture. If you're watching this after the Champions League match, this will all apply. If Bukayo Saka starts in this game, looks well and plays a lot of minutes, he genuinely is an option you can end the season with, and I think could start in game week 35 if he starts tonight and comes off early. It all depends on tonight. If he starts on the bench and again gets 10 minutes like he did against Newcastle, he's just not going to be an option till 36. But Bukayo Saka, as a differential with this run until the end of the season, in a massive title race against Man City, Fulham at home, West Ham away, Burnley at home, and Crystal Palace away, they're brilliant fixtures. They really do. I can see them winning every single one. I really can. Bukayo Saka, familiar with how Arteta plays, familiar with Arsenal, huge threat on that right-hand side on his day, and that's the key thing here. Saka has not been the same player we've seen before in previous seasons. This season, injury plagued, just not performing at that high level we once knew. I still think though, coming into the end of the season, last 4 games, 7.1% owned. If you have that spare money, Saka seems like a great option. Now, what I will say though about Arsenal midfielders, Declan Rice has to be the one. I think right now, with the information I have at the time of recording, Declan Rice is going to get the most minutes. He likes DEFCONs. He can get forward and score a goal, get an assist. Is on corners on that other side. Is it the left-hand side? I think it's the left-hand side he takes, isn't it? I think it's just absolutely fine to go Declan Rice over Bukayo Saka. But again, if you're chasing, and if Saka does play well and gets some minutes tonight, and we expect him to start in 35, he is a genuine option you can consider as a differential from one of the best teams in the Premier League. I don't think this is something we should shy away from. We should be considering Saka in FPL. A few weeks ago, I labelled Ollie Watkins as a potential trap as a transfer in for FPL Gameweek 34. He blanked. Now we're on to the good fixtures. This is the juicy bit of conversation we need to get in with this guy. Spurs at home, Burnley away. These are brilliant fixtures. brilliant. Of course, Spurs now massively fighting for Premier League survival. They will outperform their previous data. I think they will be defensively stronger than before, but they're still absolutely pants. Watkins could easily tear them apart and score a hat-trick. Same with Burnley. Burnley, of course, sat in against City, and we've seen that in full. And, you know, are they going to do the same against Aston Villa? I don't particularly think so. The problem with Ollie Watkins, and the big drawback about genuinely transferring him in for this run of games, again, is his minutes. This is a continuous theme we're seeing with teams that have extra games coming into this final bit of the season, other commitments. I mean, again, we pull up the fixture list. We have the Europa League game tomorrow against Nottingham Forest away from home. Then, of course, going into Spurs, I can see Ollie Watkins getting reduced minutes in this fixture. They then go back to the home game in the second leg of the Europa League semi-final. Big game for Aston Villa. Depends, of course, what happens in this first leg. But I expect Ollie Watkins to be playing the majority of the minutes up front there. The Burnley game, that's a few days after. He could get benched in this game. He could get reduced minutes in this game. That's the risk you're playing with Ollie Watkins in particular. Now, he's never been a 90-minute man. We know this. In the Premier League, he always comes off the pitch 70 minutes to about 85 minutes, rarely plays a full 90. I understand that. You want to preserve the man up front. He's tired. He's playing a lot of games. Europa League has been tiring for Aston Villa. They have had a lot of injuries. He's just not a 90-minute man anyway. So when you're adding these Europa League games, these Premier League games that are slightly easier, where maybe you can get away with rotating some of your starting 11, your best 11, I'm not 100% sold that his minutes will be fantastic. Does that put you off the fixtures though? Spurs at home, Burnley away. I think you can consider to buy him, but I would be extremely cautious about his minutes coming in to these two really great fixtures. Blanking in his last 3 and only scoring 1 in his last 6, Harry Wilson has been sold by a number of FPL managers this game week. In fact, where is he on the list? He's actually the 3rd most sold player, just behind João Pedro and of course the injured Julian Timber. Here's what I think. Arsenal away feels like a really great exit point. I'll be totally honest. Harry Wilson has been fantastic this season. Really great season for him. Arsenal, do we expect him to do anything? Again, I just can't see it. My attention is really drawn to 36 to 38. The last 3 games of the season, they're not bad fixtures. You can't tell me they're bad fixtures at all, actually. Bournemouth at home, Bournemouth lead goals. Of course, at home as well. You can see Fulham putting up a fight in this game. Then you go into 37. Wolves away from home. This surely should be the game. If he doesn't score against Bournemouth in that home fixture the week previously, this has to be the game he gets on the score sheet. Then going into the last game of the season with Newcastle at home, who are just having a terrible end to the season. I can see Harry Wilson finishing off the Premier League season fantastically, in all honesty. I think he'll have a brilliant time. We've always known about Harry Wilson as well. His data's never been great. It just hasn't. I think when the fixtures are good, we can kind of overlook that in some ways, but it's just never been that great. And for me, if you want to get rid of him, you can, because of this Arsenal fixture lets you kind of get somebody else. But if you want to keep him as well, I'm not opposed to it whatsoever. Bournemouth, Wolves, Newcastle, they're all good fixtures in my eyes. Harry Wilson still has that ability, but if you're looking elsewhere, if you want to get more differential than a 21% owned player, I think you're right to do so. Tomorrow you can expect my team selection video for FPL Gameweek 35, where I'll be talking about all of my possible transfers and how I'm likely to line up for the deadline. If you enjoyed this video though, make sure you drop a like, and if you're not subscribed yet, go ahead and click that sub button for future FPL videos and FPL streams. But that is everything for today's video. Thank you again so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye for now.